Hello everybody, welcome to the County Seat. Today I'm your host Chad Booth. We have an interesting topic today. Have you ever imagined you wanted to be a jet setter and you got to fly to work in a jet? Well, guess what? It might be something that a lot of people can afford and will actually benefit them, and that's the topic of our show today. It's a very interesting topic. You're going to want to stay tuned. It's called Balanced Utah, and it's a concept that's grown up and is developing out in Uintah County. Let's get a little background on the idea behind it.
Community leaders around the state are trying to find ways to cope with the continuing growth along the Wasatch Front. The state's economy has been so successful that it is accelerating the arrival of several inevitable issues that must be dealt with. How do we keep pace with a growing population? What do we do about air quality, pockets of prosperity and poverty in the economy, affordable housing for people who want to live here? So, out of all these questions, Uintah County thinks they have some answers with a pilot program called Balance Utah. By offering a commuter flight path from Vernal to Salt Lake, they hope to create a paradigm where people live where they play and visit where they work. The freeways flood with traffic each day as people move from one valley where they live to the valley where they work, sometimes spending 3 to 3.5 hours on the road. What Balance Utah proposes is a 1-hour commute, 30 minutes in the air and 30 minutes on tracks, to take people to their jobs without being caught up in traffic on the freeways. Assuming they can fly 100 passengers per plane, this plan cuts back on 100 commuter cars twice a day. Less cars also means less traffic, which leads to improved air quality. The plan also promotes the idea that it is easier and more cost-effective to ramp up air travel than it is to do more road expansion projects. By the way, if you are bypassing the roads, no more orange barrels. But this is really about creating a more balanced statewide workforce by allowing people who live in or want to live in rural Utah access to jobs along the Wasatch Front, as well as providing businesses along the Wasatch Front with an additional pool of people to fill the thousands of positions within organizations that are currently unfilled, which leads us to the issue of affordable housing. That is another imbalance that this program is likely to fix. Uintah Basin has housing available where people can buy a home for significantly less than they will find in Salt Lake, Davis, or Uintah County. Potential home buyers can also get a lot more for their money in Uintah County without necessarily giving up the job opportunities associated with the Wasatch Front. If the pilot program takes off, it's something that can be replicated in other communities in rural Utah with minimal infrastructure cost, allowing people to live where they want while also allowing them to work where they want. For the County Seat, I'm Maggie Kay.
Pretty exciting, huh? Well, we're going to delve into the obstacles, the challenges, the inspiration, and the potential benefits from this at the county level and the city level when we come back on the County Seat. We'll be right back.
Make your next adventure at Bear Lake. The Bear Lake Valley has something for everyone, all year long. Scenery, skies, water, or wildlife. You'll find what you're looking for at Bear Lake. Bear Lake, where families play year-round.
I've been in Cache Valley for 20 years or so. My two partners are homegrown Cache Valley natives. And so we started the company here because this was home. We like it here. The mountains are near, the weather's not so bad, and the people here are great, and we have a good base of employees to draw on. We recruit engineers out of Utah State University. They're tickled that they have an opportunity to make an engineering wage and stay here in Cache Valley. We're a contract design and manufacturing firm. We serve the medical device industry, primarily the area of orthopedics. We do implants, instruments, that sort of stuff. We've taken advantage of the Rural Fast Track program, and we've used it to help expand our facility. We put in an inspection room, bought a new piece of equipment, and then we've also been able to hire some more people because of it. Programs like this allow us to expand so we can hire more high salary positions. If we can pay people more money, they get to spend it in the valley, and it helps other business. So basically it really helps economic growth of the valley. When I first heard about this, I thought it was too good to be true. The more I looked into it, the more I discovered that it really is a no-brainer. If you have hopes of expanding your business, whether it's with employees or equipment or facilities, you got to look into this. You have to apply for it. The program invests in us, it invests in the valley, it invests in the community.
If you're looking for gold at the end of the rainbow, you'll probably be disappointed, because in Piute County, the only thing you'll find at the end of a rainy day is the promise of adventure. Highway 89 is your access point through Marysville and the historic trails of Bouillon Canyon. Find yourself in the mountains one minute and the desert the next as you follow in the footsteps of the pioneers. Whitewater raft, fish, hike, all within a few minutes of a comfortable bed and a warm meal. Find out why the world has made Piute County its off-road destination. Piute County, the place where the rainbow ends.
Welcome back to the county seat. We are talking about a concept called Balanced Utah. It grew up and got its legs in Uintah County, and we're going to talk about the inspiration for it right now. Joining us for our conversation, Bart Haslam, who is a commissioner from Uintah County. Bart, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Sylvia Wilkins, who is the Economic Development Director for Uintah County, and we have Quinn Benyon, who is the City Manager of Vernal City.
Yeah, thank
you. By
you.
the way, I like the flowers.
Oh, yeah.
And I love the truck that waters them. That is cool. Anyway, Bart, this is, I guess if we were talking to the inspiration for this would have to fall to you. How did this whole thing get started?
You know, it came about a couple different ways that inspired it. The biggest one is when Uintah County fell off the first time back in 08, 09, we took our crews to North Dakota, and they were working up in North Dakota. And we were paying so much in per diem and motel rooms and everything, and then our guys was just away from their families constantly. We were working 2 or 3 weeks on, then come home for 2 or 3 days. And so what we did is end up buying us a plane and flying our people up and back, and so they didn't have to spend so many nights away from their family. And just roughly, it was cost us about $175 per person to fly them back and forth. And we were paying about $375 a day in per diem in the motel rooms. So it was a business sense for myself, but it also made our family lives for our employees better also. So that's where the inspiration came. And then we were sitting this spring out to up on the hill up in legislation and listened to the governor and what he had to say about the concerns for Utah. And the 4 biggest concerns that he had, it seemed like, was affordable housing, the air quality, traffic, and rural jobs. And with this program that we've put together, it addresses all 4 of those problems.
I was going to say, you can hit all of them.
All of them. So
let's take a little bit, and I'm really intrigued by the fact that this at $150 was almost cutting your expenses in half to put guys in the field. What other benefits did it have?
Well, just the divorce rate of the guys spending 3 weeks away with their family, and then only being home for a couple days. There's no family time, and this way they were home. They was able to see their families. We worked with some contractors there that we was able to come home and see our families at night, and it just economic and family is just the best thing that ever happened to our business. It worked well.
Wow. So, you know, one would think, well, geez, I can't afford to fly to work every day, but you know, even at 150, that's like $7,000 a year.
Right.
And when people are wanting for jobs and they're paying, I mean, some companies are paying that much bonus and more just to get an employee right now.
Right. Well, and look at it, in Vernal right now, we have people working out on the Wasatch Front. And they drive out Monday morning, and so they're paying their employees to commute out. And then they're buying them motel rooms at an average of $150 and then a day, and then they're giving per diem of $100 a day. So they're spending $250 a day to have their employees out here. Well, this way it's only going to cost them $75 a day, and they're home every night with their families.
Wow. So what kind of benefits do you see this having in the county? Just from a general economic input, it almost seems impossible to make work. You know, you just think, oh yeah, sure, I'm going to catch a commercial flight.
Right.
But what infrastructure do you have? Why can you do this?
You know, I think if we all think how technology is changing in the world, this is just the next step. I mean, you can see this being done in California and other states around the country, but people in our community, they get up and leave for work at 5:30 in the morning and travel south to the oil field an hour, and at night they travel an hour back. Why can't we travel an hour to Salt Lake and take advantage of some of the job opportunities that are out here? I mean, at any given time, if you look on the Department of Workforce website, you'll see 20,000 jobs available on the Wasatch Front, and we have qualified people that can take advantage of that. We have a USU extension in the Uintah Basin that you can get master's degrees at and several bachelor's degrees. So we have the education, we have the people that can do it. We just need to make the opportunities available to them so that they can do that hour commute and make it. We'll see a huge benefit in our community if this program takes off.
So what kind of time does it take to get to the Wasatch Front if you go by car? I mean, you know, do you have anybody in Vernal that actually works in Salt Lake?
Yes, we do have a number of people that commute. Sometimes it's on a weekly basis, and so others, I have friends that come in several times a week from the Uintah Basin to Salt Lake to work. So you're looking at 3 hours, 3-hour drive to get to Salt Lake. Yeah, if there's no
construction.
Right.
You don't get
behind a truck.
An oil truck or something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but to add to some of the conversation, we have a lot of strengths in the Uintah Basin, the skills, the employees. We also have fiber to the home and to the businesses. So even if someone was able to commute some of the days and then work from home some of the other days, they'd still have that contact if they came in 2 or 3 days a week.
So I kind of want to address the issue of how you can do this, because obviously to make this work you've got to have some economies. This can't be something for 5 or 6 people to make work. You're going to have to do it in bulks of larger numbers, which now all of a sudden is telling me larger planes. Is your airport equipped to handle that?
It is. We just redid our airport. It's big enough we can land a 737 there. Our business model is based on 100 people per flight, and with that and with our costs, with it only being about a 33-minute flight each way, and the cost of it, we feel like we can do it very efficiently and be able to do it. Just throw out. We was visiting with the Box Elder County commissioners, and they said that they have 7,000 people a day commute from Box Elder County to the Wasatch Front to work. That's an hour to an hour and a half drive each way.
Easily, if you got a traffic mess up, it's long. I mean, it's an hour if it's clear traffic.
It is, and they do that so they can live outside of the city and be able to afford a home. Well, we're offering them the same thing, actually cheaper homes and a great lifestyle, and be able to commute back and forth for very inexpensive.
Would weather ever get in the way of that? Are there ever snow days for airplanes?
Last year we lost 8 days total. That our flight, that we have a flight that goes to Denver each day, and we lost 8 days in the winter. With our upgrades and the things that we're doing at the airport, that will drop, but we're figuring that in, and that's why we're saying with our fiber optics that we have in town and a few things like that, but shoot, the companies we've talked to in Salt Lake, the 3 or 4 days a year that they might miss, they'll be able to work out of the house.
Well, I guess a real argument would be anyways, if you're going to have a snow day, it's going to affect somebody driving.
Sure it is.
Right. Sure. Yeah, you'll have people come in late anyways because of the snow.
Well, I'd like to kind of delve into the topic of how this would work. So we're going to take a quick break and look at how other communities watching this can start to grasp the concept of it. We'll be right back on the County Seat.
I promised my son that if he got straight A's, we would take a guys trip, just the two of us. We were riding on a trail outside a place called Minersville, Utah. There was so much to explore, and the trail just kept climbing higher, right to the top of a mountain called Jack's Peak. We just stood there with the whole world below us, not saying much. In fact, not a word. Later, my son turned to me and said, "I love you, Dad." Suddenly, I realized we weren't just camping, we were connecting.
Years in the making, dinosaurs once roamed this land. Now they're found at the Dinosaur National Monument. Let's take you beyond the bones. We call it Dinosaur Land. You'll find it offers adventures and sights not seen anywhere else in the world. Come to Dinosaur Land, Vernal, Utah. You'll want to stay forever. The dinosaurs did.
Welcome back to the county seat. We are talking today about balanced Utah, and Quinn made an interesting comment during the break. He said, make sure that you say balanced Utah, not balanced Uintah.
Right.
So we'll delve with that into that in just a minute. Right now, I kind of want to go over how this would actually work. You say it takes bulks or blocks of 100 passengers. So what do? Do you contract with an airline? Do you buy a plane? I mean, how would you actually do this?
You know, we've dove into it in three directions, trying to decide how it's going to work the best. We've talked to some airlines that would be actually a ticketed program, just like a regular plane. But with that, it'll add about 15 minutes to the flight because you have to deal with TSA. And so we've talked with some charter companies and then a private individual also that would be buying a plane. And so it would be just a chartered, and so you wouldn't deal with TSA. You'll have your assigned seat every day. You get on your plane, you fly out here just like you do in a car. You land, you walk off, get on tracks and go to your commute. And we've actually talked to, there's a couple companies out here that's wanting to buy some of the seats, purchase some seats. And so they have their employees coming in and they're going to actually have a bus there to take their whole group to their business.
Wow. Well, that's concierge service.
Yeah.
Right.
So if it's a charter flight, is it going to land on the executive side, or would it land on the main terminal side?
On the executive side.
Okay. And is there quick tracks pickup from there? Or?
It's just right down the road. We'll set up. We have a little. It's called BTA. In Vernal, it's like your UTA, but it's our transportation authority. If we have to, we'll put a bus here to get them 2 tracks. Get them to where they need to go.
So how does a company participate in this? I mean, you know, you probably, I can think of 2 or 3 guys that I know that have tech companies here, you know, on Silicon Slopes. And I'm thinking, okay, their wheels are probably turning. Talk about a perk and a benefit package. How would companies participate in this, and what's the advantage to a Salt Lake company participating in that cost?
Right. Well, I think it depends on exactly how we construct the model. We're still kind of all in the works of getting that all put together. But being involved sooner would help us as well as help them. And so just getting in contact with Uintah County, with Vernal City, and kind of helping us formulate what the best way to put this model together would probably do them very well. In the meantime, then they can slowly figure out what employees they have that would like to move to rural Utah, or we can get some of our people trained up so that when this starts, that we can just start off running.
We want to put a job fair together, which will invite the companies out, and then we'll invite the employees in, and so we can actually put these combinations together, because we've been contacted. We have companies that want to bring their equipment out here that are from Vernal, that will leave their equipment, and they'll just buy 25 seats a day, get their employees out here to work and come home. Vice versa out here, there's companies here doing the same thing.
Now that's an interesting concept. You're looking at this as a two-way street.
Two-way street, both directions.
Not just filling job demands on the Wasatch Front, but also fitting people for jobs out in Uintah County.
That's why it's called Balanced Utah. It's taking people to where they want to work and where they want to live and where they want to play.
And connecting it.
And connecting Utah.
Okay, so somewhere out there, there's somebody who's going, oh yeah, but man, flying every day isn't that risky? I mean, that still is a thought.
Safest way to travel. I've been in the aviation business for about 16, 17 years now. It's the safest way to travel, by far.
Not to talk about the air quality benefits that flying has over all the cars on the road.
Yeah, and I think we want to take to that. I think we'll jump into that when we come back after this break. And let's go back to what the governor said, and let's talk about his 4 points and see how this applies to each one.
Okay.
We'll be right back on the county seat.
There's a little place on a Utah map where I was raised, where my heart's at, where the sagebrush grows wild and high, and the stars come out at night. Oh, there ain't nothing like being raised in the basin with a Ute reservation, skiing starvation, that Duchesne County life.
Mountains to explore. Adventure to be had. A town to fall in love with. Yes, all that in Park City, Utah. Start your adventure at visitparkcity.com.
Make your next adventure at Bear Lake. The Bear Lake Valley has something for everyone, all year long. Scenery, skies, water, or wildlife. You'll find what you're looking for at Bear Lake. Bear Lake, where families play year-round.
Exploring is an innate part of being human. What if there was a place on Earth that explores your sense of touch, sound, breath, sight, all year long? So take your time and make it monumental. San Juan County, Utah's Canyon Country, is the place to explore your sense of adventure.
All local products have a story of magical places, real people, and delicious recipes spanning generations. So go ahead and discover flavors you've never tasted and friends you never knew you had. Utah's own Discover Local Food.
Welcome back to the county seat. We are talking today about Balanced Utah. Now, Bart, you talked a little bit about the governor and his 4 points. Very briefly, how does this solve each one of those problems?
Okay, 100 people that's flying takes 200 cars off your roads a day on the traffic. Mm-hmm. That's cleaner air.
Right.
So every 100 people we fly in is 200 cars off your roads.
Right.
That alleviates traffic. Homes out here, we've talked to people out here that's bought homes that were $300,000, now they're worth maybe $600,000. If they sell that home right now and pay their note off, they bring that $300,000 out to Vernal and buy a home. They can buy a home, a nice home, 3-4 bedroom house on an acre of ground for $250,000. All of a sudden they eliminated their house payment.
They just opened up their retirement
fund. Yes, big time.
They got a pay raise.
And we keep in mind when they live in Uintah County, they have 300 miles of trails to ride, lakes, fishing. They have everything that they want.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was thinking of. You know, you've got a company and you're trying to offer a benefit package. A fishing stream 3 minutes from your house way trumps a foosball table. Yeah. Okay.
And then the job initiative. You know, we have the people that are trained looking for these jobs. The Wasatch Front has the jobs right now, and so the people are living in Vernal, so the jobs are rural, but they're working out here, and then they bring the money home to the rural communities.
Did that cover all 4 of them?
Which one did I forget?
Yeah, you got them all.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
So I do want to talk about, are there any other benefits from this? Is there any way to make this even a better deal?
Yeah, so we've looked at lots of ways to make this more cost effective, and one of the services that we don't have in our rural communities right now is overnight air service. So if you add the freight component to these flights, because these passengers aren't going to be taking luggage with them, the cargo bins are going to be empty. If we put freight in those can make the price come down on the tickets as well.
So would that be like a contract situation with like
Correct.
DHL and FedEx and UPS?
UPS, maybe even the mail service.
Yeah.
Wow. And they pay for that. I guess they would pay for that.
Sure
wouldn't
they will.
Wow.
Yeah, they do now. And we hope that, you know, this is a model that we believe will be successful and hope it is, and then other communities can share in that model and look around balancing Utah.
What's required of an employer to try and get engaged in this? I mean, they'd have to kind of work their start time, and you know, because if you're dealing in blocks of 100, you can't just say, well, you need to be here at 7:30, you need to be here at 8. Somebody else needs to be here at 8:30. So you'd have to look for a little bit of flexibility like that.
Yeah, our model right now is leaving Vernal at 6 and returning home at 6. And so that's going to be our model, and then as we get branched out and see what the changes are, we'll adapt to what we need to.
So could it grow to the point where it's Vernal to Salt Lake and another plane going Vernal to Provo?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then one from Washington County, one from all over the county, wherever the work is. That's why it's called Balance Utah, is wherever the work is. Uintah County will be busy again in 2-3 years when the rail comes in. Maybe you will slow down. We'll bring your employees here to work and then bring them home.
Okay, so one last question. What's the infrastructure tab on doing this? I mean, compared to, you know, fast rail and some of those other things, are there hidden costs in this?
No, we're ready to go.
Yeah, it's just the airline costs. We have the airport, we have the infrastructure, the housing's available. Expansion
wouldn't really create, other than as soon as you get enough people for a new plane, you'd get a new plane, huh?
That's expandable.
Wow. Well, this is really impressive. We need to do a follow-up show on this as it gets a little bit closer, and we appreciate your taking the time to come in. God, we come up with such good ideas on this show, and we're excited to share about them. If you're a county or a community and you have an airstrip out there and you're kind of curious about how this might work, can they contact you?
Please give us a call.
Do you have a website set up for this? No, just go to Uintah County.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so Sylvia, I'm going to have them contact you.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Remember, local government is where your life happens and quite often becomes very innovative, and we'll look for you next week on the County Seat.